Okay, let's see. Showing I'm live, but I'm not around. I am. Hi everyone, if anyone can hear me and see me, I will appreciate if you let me know. I'm gonna give a few little minutes to jump in. And today, I'm gonna be answering some questions about like carnivore and my health journey. And if anyone has questions, you can leave it in the comments. And at the end, I would like to give for whoever stays at the end, stays until the end of this video, 3 tips that I think are kind of big bucks for your inversion. If you're starting carnivore or animal based or keto, like 3 main things that you would like to consider and keep in mind when you're starting so you don't have like any bad experiences. So I want to hear those at the very end. I'm gonna just mention 3 quick tips on that. And yes, so gonna wait for a little minute and then I'm gonna start with these 10 questions today about carnivore and lifestyle and my journey, my own journey. And yeah, so if you haven't seen my video talking about my health journey, I'm also gonna leave it at the end and in the comment in the description, so you can go check it out and then see it after this video. So yeah, I'm gonna start now with the first question, just to warm up a little bit. It says, "What exactly did you eat in a typical day?" Um, it changed a lot. It has changed a lot since I first started carnivore to now. When I first started for, well, I was vegetarian, and in the family I live with, my host family, they don't eat meat. So it was very, we didn't have any meat in the house. So for the start, I started like trying things like fast food and burger patties and like the Chick-fil-A chicken breast. But then when I started talking more with them about me moving into this lifestyle and stuff, that's when I started to go all in. So first, at the very start, something that I really love about carnivore is they say, don't contain yourself. Just go and eat it as much as you want until you feel full. So I went and eat everything like everything I wanted to eat because I was vegetarian for 13, 14 years. So I was not familiar with any meat or what did I like. So I will buy like ground beef and pork chops and chicken, and that will be like how I started, like every day eating like eggs and ground beef and bacon and pork and chicken and anything I could find in tuna and stuff like that. Nowadays, what I eat now, for example, today in the morning, I ate a burger patty with 4 medium soft boiled eggs, fish. It was tuna, yeah, like rare tuna. And for lunch, I had chicken. I was craving so much roasted chicken. I don't really know how you say, it, but yeah, I had roasted chicken with another burger patty and eggs and some honey. I'm doing animal based right now. I'm going a little bit on carbs. And just now for dinner, I have another piece of the roasted chicken that was left and another burger patty. So that's kind of what it is like mostly ground beef or burger patties and eggs. That's like the main thing. And then I will spice it up with like tuna or chicken or pork or whatever I have on hand. Liver too. I have liver, so I'm gonna breakfast liver tomorrow. Let's see. Says, how long did it take before you start seeing results? It was really quick. It was super quick how fast I started seeing results on Carnivore. I'm mind blown of how fast it was to start seeing results. I think it was, and till this day, if I'm eating something I should not, and I go back to carnivore or like animal based at least, and go into this elimination period, it takes like 3 days for example, my skin to clear up or my energy levels to go back to normal and my cravings to reduce. So the first time, I guess it was like 1 or 2 weeks where I started seeing results and things like my energy and stuff. It was probably like a week that I started feeling like more energy and more like less mental fog. I was like I always say it was like I woke up to life when I started doing carnivore, and that show up very early, like the very week, the first week. My skin crab, like I think 2 weeks in, my nails got so stronger after a few months, maybe 2 or 3, and no, it started like and growing, like they start breaking like 2 or 3, and then I could see like them growing super long, like about 6 months in, and I love that part. For example, my hormones that took a little bit longer because when I started doing carnivore, I dropped on the contraceptive pills, and I noticed that I didn't have a period for 5 years. I didn't have a period on the pills, and then after I dropped, it took like 6 months for my period to come back, and that was very glad that it happened. So it kind of depends, but I know like the very first things like energy and skin and mood, my mood, those change very quickly. So you see those very early on. I don't quite remember. I don't think that any negatives effect was that big for me to make me quick. I think that all the good benefits definitely outweighed any kind of side effects I might have. Hi, Mountain Dice. Nice to see you. Good to have you here. So I could maybe think side effects. I don't quite remember. I don't think I remember any side effects right now. Like I just remember all the good things. Well, I know that if you eat a lot of fat, you might have you could experience like loose stool or things like that. But if you have like tons of fat, so don't be afraid of like if you are eating like 2 eggs or 4 eggs, you're gonna be like, oh no. So yeah. Oh, one of the side effects that I experienced now I remember is when you just change your way of eating or put your body in a different diet. Many people experience hair loss, and I did. Yes, I experienced hair loss, but I kind of used to because I was diagnosed at 9 with hypothyroidism, and that is hair loss, and PCOS also produce hair loss. So I was already experiencing hair loss, and then I changed the way I was eating, and of course I kept having hair loss. But then after a while, it kind of stopped. I get like 6 or 8 months in, I stopped seeing as much shedding of hair as I used to, and the only times I see like hair, like losing hair, is when I go like extreme long periods of fasting, but like days and days and days, or if I go like very below my baseline of calories that I should have. So when you're putting your body in survival, that's when you see like hair loss. Yeah, I know it was right for me. Um, I guess the first reason is because God told me. I always love to say that God was the one who told me to start carnivore, and that's how I knew because it was like a strange message from heaven telling me go do that. That's the way to go. And then after all the benefits and all the learning, I all the knowledge again, learning more about carnivore, I learned so much about my body, about my own health, how the body in general works, about evolution and how we evolve to thrive on protein and animal-based protein and fat, how important it is for our hormones and our energy and like all the process in our body to stop aging, to keep better cardiovascular and fitness. So after all of those learning and new knowledge that I gained, I knew it was for me because all the science was backing this up, and my own personal experience was backing it up. How strong I became, and how like oop, like glitch there. No, I hope you still see me. Can I? So we're back. Hope now you can see me and hear me. Don't know what's going on with the internet or the app. Thank you, Meltin. I don't know if you can hear me now. Let me know if you can hear me now or see me. I don't know what have happened. Okay, perfect. Thank you. I kind of lost my train of thought. But yeah. um. Oh yeah. So people will ask me like, how do I know that it's good for me? Or they will ask me like, how long are you gonna keep doing this? For how long are you gonna be on this diet? First of all, diet is not like the same as restricted eating. Like when you say like you're doing like juice detox or something like that, that is like a restricted period of time that you eat in a certain way for some reason to gain or lose weight or something like that for a specific reason. And diet is everything you eat. So, for example, a standard American diet is the way to describe how you're eating. It's not like necessarily that you're doing that for losing weight. Carnivore, you can use it for losing weight or gain weight or whatever. But I know that most of the time people ask me in the way like, how long are you gonna do it? Is like, how long are you gonna be like trying to lose weight or stuff? And I always say like, forever. As far as I know, I'm gonna keep doing this. Like trying to keep animal based approach the rest of my life because now I know how important protein is for our bodies and to survive to thrive. So I don't think I'm gonna stop or going anywhere close back to vegetarian or vegan or anything like that, or any standard American diet. I would like to keep in this zone of more keto, carnivore, animal based. Yeah. Says, did you work with a doctor or nutritionist while doing this? No. Yes. Kind of. I started working with a nutritionist before I was doing carnivore. I was trying to lose weight and I was vegetarian. And I contacted this nutritionist trainer that she were uh, trying to kind of guide me into nutrition, but we didn't really connect. I was not seeing any results and I was not feeling any engagement from her part in the process. So that's when God stepped in and walk in and showed me carnivore and everything. And I started on my own. I started like first jump into it right away because I have no patience, and like living it, trying, experimenting, and learning, reading books, listen to doctors, podcasts, testimonials, like everything I could. I started like absorbing and trying and listening. And then after a while, I talked to a certified nutrition and coach too that was doing specifically carnivore. And I talked to her a little bit on like things we can tweak and stuff. And after that, no, I want to have lab work done and talk to a doctor that specifically works with people that is doing carnivore diet. So that's kind of my next approach that I want to take. But I didn't have any doctor like talking about it, and I have had exams like okay, like basic blood work like cholesterol, triglyceride, sugar, blood pressure, those kind of exams doing every 2 or 3 months. And my numbers before being carnivore, like being vegetarian, to after being vegetarian, there's a huge difference. Like vegetarian, my triglycerides were like almost 200, and then went down like 89. So they improve a lot. My blood pressure also dropped. I was like in the normal high end, like getting there, and now they're like almost below, uh, like in the very bottom of the threshold of what is normal. So went like almost too high to almost too low. So it was like a big change. Oh, that was like huge improvement. Huge improvement. Um, it was a huge improvement on digestion because I had always had like these problems with constipation and stuff. I remember since I was a kid, my mom having to deal with those things and asking like neighbors like what to do with my kid and whatever. And then trial vegetarian was one of the worst things. Uh, but then I learned how much it was due to fiber that my digestion was so bad. I had so bad that bad digestion and so much bloating and gas and stuff. And when you do an elimination diet as such as carnivore, you can really tell what are the things that are not working for you. And that I loved because I went down to only meat and fat, and my digestion was perfect, amazing, no bloating. Because I can eat pounds and pounds of meat, and I will be like my belly will be flat, no gas, feeling light as a feather, and then going to the restroom was such an ease. So it was perfect. It is perfect. It to this day. And what I like is if I introduce any kind of new food, I can instantly tell if it is going to be good for me or not because my body is so now I am so in tune with what works and not with my body that I can tell immediately like, oh, I cannot have, for example, strawberries for the seeds because it immediately is like bloating, feeling stuff and pain, and it's like it doesn't really work with me. So digestion improved tons, tons. It says, your previous video actually encouraged me to remove the junk food I still had in my diet. What other advice do you have in discipline with eating healthier? For eating healthier and discipline, I think that the thing that helped me the most, because I have friends that tell me and ask me that how are you so disciplined, or you are so disciplined with your diet and you just don't eat anything else. I think that what helped me the most was that when you start carnivore, they say just go and eat as much as you can, because you cannot overeat meat. And they were just like, go and eat. And I did that. I first started and I was like so hungry, and it was like, and they said don't feel guilty about it. So I went and was like, okay, I'm not going to feel guilty about it. And I went and ate like a pound of ground beef with two pork chops and three chicken legs, like big chicken legs. And that was amazing. Like eating so much food. And then you get stuff, but o sea, like you're full, but you are not like painfully stuff, like when you eat like a lot of junk food and like soda and stuff, and your belly hurts and you're bloated and you're like painfully, like your body is like stretching painfully. You never experience that in animal based or in carnivore. You never experience that. So I think that part that is the most for staying disciplined in this way of eating is because it's very intuitive and very in tune with your body, so it's not hard at all. I don't feel it's hard at all, because you're allowed to eat as much as you want and whenever you want. Like when you're hungry and you want to eat, you eat a bunch of eggs with ground beef or a chicken or fish or a can of tuna. And you just go and eat yourself. And no, if I start having cravings, or if I start it's becoming hard, or something, it's because I'm just hungry. So I go and I give myself some real one ingredient whole food, and I will feel fine. And it will be easy again. Let's see. Did you track macros or calories? If so, how? At the beginning, no. At the beginning, I was like, as I said, just eat as much as I can, as much as I could. I was just like, yum, 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 yum. And you may think like you gain weight. Sometimes you do. I gain muscle. So yes, I gain weight, but I gain muscle with that way. Um, but actually, many of the people have trouble eating enough when you are in carnivore, and that's when you experience like kind of the side effects, like having like keto flu, or hair loss, or feeling tired, or feeling like those kind of symptoms, is because you're not eating enough, and that's when counting calories matter. So after I saw this nutritionist, and I told her about like a week before talking to her, she asked me to like track what was eating, and I was eating like a lot food. Maybe I was in around 2,000 calories or something like that, and some days 2,300, sometimes 2,000, like 2,000. And I use the app My Fitness Pal, so I can put that one in the description. I still do it right now, and especially when I add like honey and carbs, I like to track, because those make you really hungry. So then I can start like overeating, and I like to keep track. So the way I use tracking now is that I plan my day of what I'm going to eat beforehand, like the day before or in the morning that day, and I would log in like, yeah, I'm gonna have like two burger patties and eggs and chicken, and then I'm gonna have like a steak or tuna or something like that. And I plan what I'm gonna eat in the day. And then if I eat something else, would I add it? Or if I didn't eat two burger patties, just a one, then I will take it away. Right? I have like a plan of like how much I'm gonna be eating, and I don't really count the calories. I'm just make sure that I'm eating enough protein, like 120 at least grams of protein, or 150, like between 120 to 150 grams of protein, and then like about the same amount of fat, and either no carbs or carbs, like 50 grams, not over 100. I never go over 100 grams of carbs. Oh, it's my pleasure. Melting ice. Yes, it is very liberating, because I was coming from a background of 13 years like restricting meat, or like being the weird one when going out, and then starting to be like getting like symptoms and not being my best and overweight and stuff like that. And then I started like cutting and I started doing intermittent fasting, but too extreme. Very, very hard intermittent fasting. So now coming to this new world that says that eat as much as you want, as many times as you need, like big meals, and just eat and enjoy. It was like, what? It was almost too good to be true, but then it turned out to be true, and I was like, it's amazing. Here was I. How do your friends and family react when you switch to this diet? They were very like asking me. I have always been the weird one on the group. Like when I was back in Ecuador, I was vegetarian. So people will eat normal and I will have to try to find vegetarian options. So I was weird there. And then I came here with a vegetarian family, was vegetarian for like a year and a half. And then I switched. So now I was the weird one again. And I was like only meat now. So my family and friends, I had to inform them, and living in a family that they don't really buy meat or cook meat, I was very self-conscious that I was gonna make them uncomfortable, and they will say like, "We please open like a window where you cook and stuff like that, and make sure you don't have like any fat from the pan on the surfaces, and like clean." And of course, I was just learning like cooking because I was never really cook in the past. Um, and then if I cook, it was like vegetarian things, so like bread and tortillas and cheese and eggs, and that was like the most messy kind of stuff that melts and heats and stuff. So now learning how to cook in a kitchen that is not yours was kind of complicated, but I'm so grateful to God and to my house family that they helped me accommodate this way. And now I have like a perfect arrangement. I have like my little own little kitchen, and I cook everything on my air fryer. So I'm so glad that my host family are so um, open minded with my way of eating, and I love and appreciate that. My mom, she's always on board on whatever I do, so she doesn't really mind. And my friends are also always like, okay. So my friends were fine. Oh well, new people that I met, like new girls that, or if I go on a date or something, it's always fun to tell people, and these people will be like, wow. And it's more like people that doesn't really know me, the ones that are like more concerned about the way I eat, or like curious, or like I will never do that. So it's my family and friends, they're totally fine with it. It's more like new people. Says, did you ever have cravings for other foods? How do you handle that? Yeah, sometimes. And I don't know if I mentioned it already. The only times I have cravings is when I have not eaten enough. So, for example, if I had breakfast and then around lunch, I'm like out and about and I don't have time for cooking, or I'm like with my whole family or in school or things like that, and then I see something like pizza or chocolate, or fruit or stuff like that. Uh, yeah, my brain is, it evolves to want those things, so it sees those and be like, "Oh, eat it, go and eat it," and I'm like, "No, wait, it's not okay." And then I go and eat like a full meal, and then I can walk by the same pizza and be like, I don't want you. I don't want you anymore. I already have my good food. So you can be you. So the only times I really experience or have trouble with cravings is when I haven't eaten enough. And then my body's telling me like, oh, I need this extra like fat, or I need this extra protein. And usually your body tells you what it wants. Like if you crave something salty, it wants minerals. If you crave something like junk foody, it's probably it's craving fat. So yeah. Because I struggle with cravings. Yes, I know. And I was so like this yo-yo kind of way when I was vegetarian, because I was starving myself being vegetarian and depleting my body and malnourishing my body when I was vegetarian. So I will be always hungry, but always, and always craving and always like snacking and stuff, like going to the pantry and eat like a few little things and then grab a bag and things like that. And then if the kids didn't eat, I would eat whatever they left. So I was like always snacking and picking stuff, and I will still be hungry all the time. No matter how much I eat, I will still be hungry and I will still have cravings and snacking and things, because my body was like, okay, you keep giving me this sugary or grains or like potato chips, things like that, but none of this stuff as protein. So you're not giving me what I'm asking you for. So I'm gonna keep asking you until you give me what I ask. So your body is not, how to say in Spanish is tu cuerpo no está tonto. So your body is not dumb. It's not just going to be keep asking because it doesn't know, or because you don't have like strong will. Hi, Jordan. How are you? Oh, hi, good evening. Good to see you. I'm so glad to have you here, guys. So yeah, your body is not asking you because you don't have like a strong will, or because you're weak and you cannot control yourself. Your body is very wise, and it knows exactly why it's keep asking you to eat. Is because it's trying to get from you those nutrients. So yeah, if you struggle with cravings, the fastest way to handle those is giving your body like one ingredient, whole foods, and start with protein and fat. Usually those are the most satiating and those that the body craves the most. So I will start there. Mm, let's see, 10. What made you decide to try carnivore instead of keto or paleo? I actually started keto long ago. I think the first time I hear about keto was like maybe 12 or 14 back in Ecuador, and I was still vegetarian, so I was trying to like keto vegetarian. So I will try to eat like a ton of vegetables with olive oil and avocados, olives, like those kind of fats, like healthy fats. But it was kind of the same thing. Like I was not satiated. I will still have cravings, so I will be like depleted, and then I will go and eat like pizza and French fries and like junk food. And something really funny is that tons of junk food are vegetarian. So you can be very vegetarian or vegan and still eat tons and tons of junk food that has like processed sugars and grains and seed oils. So that was very tricky. um, like being keto vegetarian. And nowadays they have so much things like keto ice cream and keto chips and keto, and you can really put keto on anything nowadays, because the definition of keto is like something that is high in fat. So I wouldn't go for that way. But I tried keto and it didn't work. Like keto vegetarian, it didn't really work for me. And that's when I find carnivore. That's basically this keto too, because keto just means like high on fat, medium protein, and low carbs. And carnivore is basically zero carbs. So you go really into keto and you start producing ketones, and you're entering ketosis when you're doing carnivore. Just is more extreme. And I like toggle, like move in between carnivore and animal based here and there. So I still always in ketosis, you can say, because when I'm in animal based, I'm just adding things like dairy and honey and maybe fruits. And when I cut those and go back into carnival, I'm still into like ketosis. I still enter in ketosis, especially if I'm doing intermittent fasting with it too. I have never tried paleo. I'm not very much educated in what paleo entails, what specifically paleo is, but I don't know, maybe one day I'll give it a try. Hi girls. Let me see. Those were my main 10 questions. So so if you want to like ask me any questions that you have, I'm happy to answer. And if you want to stick till the end, I'm gonna also leave like 3 tips that I think it was the most important big tips that I wish I knew at the very beginning when I first started carnivore. So there you are. Let's see what you're saying. It says, I was a vegan for 2 years and it was the healthiest I've ever been in my life. The one day I started craving carnitas and bacon. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's so funny. I've heard many stories of people that saying that they were like vegan or vegetarian and they have like this moment of like a trance, like they get consumed by some spirit and then they go and eat like a whole chicken and then they wake up and they were like, what did I just eat? Like they were possessed. They had to go and just eat like that. I think it's so funny. And when I was a vegetarian, I would also have those kind of cravings and being like, oh, some chicken wings will be so good now. And I was like, "Ah, but I don't eat meat. So I will go and eat like something like fatty and like French fries and with a ton of cheese or chips with ton of cheese, like nachos. And it's like, yes. I know those cravings that come up out of nowhere. And as I said, it's mostly your body's saying like, you need that. Says, can you have vegetables with carnivore or just animal products? So in carnivore specifically, because it's like an elimination diet, that what you're looking for is reduce inflammation. Vegetables produce inflammation and bloating. Um, so you can cut all plants in general. Some people, some carnivore cut like even coffee and tea and stuff like that. Nowadays, I don't eat vegetables just because first I don't like them, and second because I don't trust them. Like I've read so much about the toxins that they have, like oxalates and nightshades and stuff like that, that I don't personally see it worth it. Also, that the nutrients are not bioavailable for us. So sometimes I just joke saying that it's like very hype expensive water. Like vegetables is like just a ton of water and fiber, and you don't even process fiber. So in my opinion, on the balance, it's more like I don't see that much benefits compared to the downsides of vegetables, and that's why I don't eat it. But there's people like people that is not doing like a specific carnivore, more like keto, that they will have like vegetables. And if you do like primal way of eating, you can also have vegetables. So if someone asks me like if they're eating like whole one ingredient foods like meat and vegetables and eggs and stuff like that, I will be like, do fine. If you want to eat your vegetables, go eat your vegetables. That is not really a big deal. As long as you're not eating like ton of processed food and McDonald's and pizzas like every day of the week. Yes, definitely have your vegetables with your meat. Let's see. Because I did keto for a long time, then I did bright line eating, and all the measuring was fine, but eventually tedious. What is bright light eating? It's the first time I hear that one. I would love to hear more about. Says I never tried carnivore, so this is intriguing. I agree. Store bought veggies are suspicious. Are suspect. Yes, and also like I'm not even counting the ones that have like um, pesticides and other chemicals added. Just by the own plants, the chemicals they have, they made me like very worried. Or because this Dr. Chafee talks a lot about how plants are trying to kill us. That's what he literally says. That plants have these protective chemicals that are trying to keep the plant from being eaten by other animals, because animals can run but plants cannot. So they evolved to create these chemicals in their leaves and the stem, the roots, the seeds. That's where the most important plant part the plant wants to protect, and that's where the most chemicals are, and that's why it tastes so bitter. That's why for kids, taking in vegetables is like so bitter, and they hate it and don't like it, because they know you're trying to poison them. They can tell, like, no, this is toxic, get it out of my mouth. And that's why they don't like vegetables. I was super impressed to find out. This bright line eating is never eating anything made from white flour or white sugar. And you have to measure all the meals with a food scale. Yeah, that sounds very exhausting. It does sound very exhausting. Um, when I was doing keto, like a specific keto, that was one of the things that made it so hard for me to stick to it, from because I heard like when I was 12, 13. But I will do it sometimes and then drop it, and do it sometimes and then drop it. And because I was to keep like myself under 50 grams of carbs, and so I will be reading the labels all the time and trying to find the carbs, and then you have like net carbs, and like fiber doesn't really count, so you kind of have to subtract. And it was like a whole process, and it was like, no, this is too hard, it's complicated. When sometimes when I have motivation, yeah, sure, I can start tracking for like a week. And then I drop it and doesn't really care about that anymore. So that's why carnivore was so liberating, because it was like, just eat as much as you want. You don't have to worry how much you eat. You don't have to worry of how much calories you're eating, of how much numbers you're tracking and weighting, like how much weight those things weighed. Because you have to be scaling everything. And no, I felt that was too complicated. So just go and eat as much as you can. Some very attractive deal then. And then it did. I did it to heal my rheumatoid arthritis. That sounds exhausting. Yes, it is exhausting. Yeah, actually, I heard from Nina Irfan, about carnivore, and that's how God told me actually. And I understand she cured her rheumatoid arthritis by doing like cutting all gluten. And then she heard about carnivore. I don't quite remember how her story was, but yeah, she also had like this autoimmune disease, and a massage told her like to try like a specific blood type diet, and then she read more about cutting carbs. And I also read these books about like how, I think it's called brain bread brain, something like that. And it's got so much about how gluten affects your brain. And now there are doctor sayings, and this Dr. Williams, I believe his name, talks about how Alzheimer's and dementia is actually diabetes of the brain. So like from like processed sugar and carbs and like bread and flours and stuff like that, how much it damaged your brain to like these points of like Alzheimer's and dementia. So yeah, it's quite a thing. Time me out. Oh, well, I'm glad you, Kabibi, want to try, give it a try. Just I'm gonna have some tips at the end for starting, if you want to start. They get boring eating the same foods. No, because I keep them in rotation. And even when I did, for a while, I was having literally like just burger patties and eggs every meal for every day. I didn't get bored. The reason I started like rotating more foods is because I wanted to have more variety, because different meats have different composition of vitamins and minerals and protein. So it's good to have like a bigger spectrum of animals. But apparently, the biggest ones are ruminant animals like beef and lamb and goat and those kind of animals. But even when I was eating just that simple ground beef, eggs, and burger patty stuff, I didn't get bored, because every time I was hungry, I would sit to eat, and my body would be like so full and like nourished and recharged with those nutrients, that I was like, it will melt my mouth. My mouth will be watering even before I know that I was going to go in my burger patties and my eggs. Like I will be waiting for that, like, oh yes, I'm gonna go eat them, and then I eat them and I feel full and I feel nourished and I feel great. So I don't think it was boring, in my opinion. And you can be very creative. That's something I like, and not because I get bored, because I think it's fun to try. Like, I start trying all kind of recipes with eggs, and for example, you can do like waffles just with eggs or pork rinds, and like milkshakes with eggs. I try like milkshakes with eggs and banana. I have my own egg coffee that I wanna do the recipe and post soon. And you get creative, like you start experimenting, and that's really fun because it's like mirroring like other diets that you will do, like vegetarian meat. Here you do like carnivore bread, so you have no uh, wheat or gluten or anything, and it's bread made out of animal products, so it's like ton of protein, so great if you're training, have no carbs at all, and is delicious and fluffy and nice. So you get creative, you can have your fun if you want. But also something I've heard a lot is people on Carnival will say like, well, I don't get really entertainment out of my food. I want to get nutrition out of my food. And that really resonated with me, like, oh yeah. I will eat and nourish my body, and then if I'm bored, like I will go and dance and go dance into creative. But you can also be creative in carnivore, definitely. Okay, at least some comments says, yep, Shannon, they're good and a few other things, but Mina, yeah, I love her. I like when Mina says that when we eat carbs, it make our hunger so loud. It is crazy, and that's. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that is really telling on your body. With carnivore, I learned so much about my own body and my signals, and you can use something like carbs on your behalf, like on your advantage. So I was not eating enough um food, because after a pound of ground beef and eggs, I was like full, but I will need more calories because I didn't have enough, because I was starving, but still needed more food. And I will start like adding things like fruits and honey, and those open your appetite. And that's people that are doing carnivore, they all not all, but many people experience like, if they're not enough food, adding some carbs really help them like tune in. But if your main thing to eat is carbs, it's like a train destined to crash. Because it happened to me in a few vacations. It has happened to me that, for example, if I go with someone that is not carnivore, I don't have that much access to the amount of meat I have. And if I start eating fruits because I don't have enough meat, then I will get, it's like a vicious cycle, that I eat more fruits and then I'm more hungry, and then I eat more fruits and then I'm more hungry, and then it just keeps going and going and going and going. And it's hard to control. So definitely carbs make you hungrier and loud. And I also like how Mina says that she cannot be spiritual when she's on carbs. And I feel like sometimes it is true, like especially like processed food kind of carbs. Yes, they are very addictive. Oh my goodness. Like, I love fruits. Um I'm a sucker for fruits. All kind of like bananas and pineapple and strawberries. I used to love them with whipped cream and all that stuff. Then now I'm trying to add those, and I see what effects they do in my body. And it's like I don't see them the same way now. Like, for example, strawberries, they are so painful, or blackberries or berries with the seed on. It's so painful to eat those because I will get bloated and it hurts and I have like cramps, and it's like, no, I'm sorry. It's not really worth it. Like the 10 seconds there in my mouth while I'm chewing them, for all the hours of pain after that. It's kind of not worth it. And you start seeing I experienced that you start seeing the food in a different way after you doing this, like food or food, like processed food doesn't really look like food anymore. But that's very interesting experience too. You know, but it's okay on carnivore. Not really, because peanuts are plants. They come from plants. So if you're trying to do a strict carnivore, you don't really eat peanut butter. But some of the big things on peanut butter is that most of the time they are made with seed oils, and that's a big no in any way that you eat. I will highly recommend to cut all the seed oils and vegetable oils of your diet. And many of the peanut butter is made of tons of seed oil, and it tends to get moldy. Like peanuts will have mold, so even if you don't see it, the peanut butter could have some peanuts that had mold, so your peanut butter now has mold. And peanuts as being a seed, I understand it's a seed, well, it's a nut, also have like a lot of toxic chemicals, so kind of not that good. I wouldn't. Yeah. And don't any comments. So there. Oh, I felt keto wasn't sustainable when I did it. Yeah, definitely it's not. I don't feel like just keto with all the other stuff is very sustainable because you have to be counting grams and reading. I always read my labels. Like when I buy stuff, I always read the labels, but not to calculate the math on grams or calories or anything like that, but just to see how many ingredients it is in the food. So now my rule of thumb, like my goal rule for stuff, is getting things that are just one ingredient or fewest ingredients, and that I know what those ingredients are. Because there could be things that, like salt, you go and grab a thing of salt, and ingredients like salt with dextrose and anti-caking agents and a bunch of extra stuff that you don't even know, and you have like to have like chemistry degree to know what those things are. And like no, I don't want to put all those kind of weird, I don't know what these things are in my body. So now I highly recommend eating just one ingredient food, whole foods, and it can be like meat, vegetables, fruits. As long as it's just one ingredient, I say it's good to go. It's way better than on the spectrum of things. One ingredient vegetables are way better than any of the processed foods. So you can definitely go for the vegetables. But just protein is so essential for your body that also go heavy on protein. My rule is five or more ingredients is the no. Yes. Yeah, I feel like wow. It's so hard now, and it's very disappointing to see how many um foods have things like sugar or high fructose syrup or dextrose. It's like, why is that even in here? It's like, I don't know, like bacon, bacon with flavors. I want to eat bacon, and they put a high fructose corn syrup in those. It's like, why is that in bacon? I don't understand. So they like this put. I know. I actually understand why it happens. Actually, because food companies, they try to make these foods really addictive, and as we saw right now, like we were talking about right now, carbs are super addictive, and high fructose syrup, fructose is super addictive because it comes from fruit, and our bodies, mammals bodies, are evolved to desire those food in a crazy way, like because bears, when they are going to hibernation, they stuff in fruits, so they get tons and tons of fat to keep that fat. So fructose is even more addictive than normal sucrose for our bodies. So of course they're going to put like high fructose syrup in food that they want to make addictive, especially for kids. That is like so, making me so sad. I don't like that. Yeah, let's not get sad right now. Chica, please don't tell me when me when can have hot sauce. Actually, not many people that do carnivore or keto that do carnivore that have hot sauce. The main thing with hot sauce is that you know that it's hot because it's also the casein is the defense system of the plant. So the plant is trying to like fight back. So that's why it's so spicy and it hurts so much. But if like there's things like I think it's Tabasco, like the original recipe that has only like Tabasco and maybe vinegar and salt and something like that, like three ingredients, like very easy. And if like you're not doing a strict carnivore, you can do like dirty carnivore. There's many people that do like dirty carnivore that they will have like spices and like artificial sweeteners, and things like hot sauce that are like very like they know the ingredients and they're like very little ingredients, or like do your own um homemade hot sauce. That will I will say like go for it. Like if that the only bad thing, like that's your only thing, like go for it. Capsaicin, there you go. By the way, Kabibi, where are you from? Because and I heard some Spanish there. I would love to hear where you're from. I wasn't sure if I should make videos in Spanish or English because I know there's like not much information on carnivore in Spanish, but also I kind of learned all of my education in carnivore on English. So it's kind of hard for me to translate and talk at the same time. I get some water. How long have I been? Oh, 56. I think I'm gonna start letting you guys go. But first, I wanted to share with you these three tips that I think are super important. I'm from San Francisco. I didn't know it was invented. Oh, really? I didn't know it was invented in San Francisco, but I can't believe that because French fries are not from France, and hamburgers are from like not hamburger. I don't remember them, but I know that many foods you think they're from a place and they're from a different place. San Francisco. I've never been to San Francisco. I just been to like California when it was like Minos event, and I just was there in San Clemente. But I would like to see San Francisco and visit it because the show Full House. I believe that one is in San Francisco, and I used to love that one as a kid. Okay, so let's see these top three tips that I would like to share with you guys that I think are big, big, big. If you want to try carnivore and start carnivore, to keep those in mind because it can be like a win or a loss if you start without these things. The first one is prioritize electrolytes. As soon as you start in your um, carnivore journey or elimination or keto, definitely prioritize electrolytes. I cannot say enough. Your neurons use electrolytes, sodium, calcium, potassium, to fire, like all your cells in your body to fire, to work, to maintain homeostasis. Um, and don't fear sodium. I'm gonna make a video on sodium soon. Um, but it's super essential. The reason that people sometimes like feel bad in keto or carnivore is because they don't have enough electrolytes. So first of all, start with electrolytes. Super important. And try to find electrolytes that are like also like one ingredient or like very little ingredients. There's brands that I've heard many carnivores use, like Element. I use Relight. It's not a sponsor. I wish they would have sponsored me soon. Hopefully. But it's like just like real sea salt electrolytes, that one, and also have flavors. These brands also have flavors. There is Keto Cho, that is from Dr. Berry Company, and those I have tried those two, Relight and Keto Cho, and they taste delicious. And you feel so good. Like I will be in a hot class, hot yoga class, like dying, and I can just like sip two or three of these electrolytes and be like, back on it. So, super important, especially because when you're doing carnivore keto, you are not retaining liquids. So you're gonna lose a lot of liquids, but also a lot of minerals. And if you only drink water without electrolytes, without replenishing minerals, you can go into hypernatremia when that's when you have low sodium, and that is super dangerous. I've read and heard people say that low sodium is even more dangerous than high sodium because your kidneys can process sodium, but they cannot get sodium out of thin air, especially if you drink like tons of water, but you are not retaining those minerals. That is a no, 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 no. Second tip is do not fear fat because eating too lean can work against you. So if you're going to start carnivore, make sure you are eating at least as much fat as you're eating protein, like a one-on-one ratio, like 100 grams of protein with 100 grams of fat. And that is like, you can do it easily without having to count or like keep track of those things by kind of trying to lean into more like fatty cuts of meat, like ground beef and like the fatty beef, not the lean beef. Um, Fatty tuna, fatty not tuna, fatty salmon, fatty fish, stuff like that. That is more fatty because your body needs protein, like building blocks of the body, but it only gets energy either from carbohydrates or fat. So if you are cutting all the carbohydrates because you're doing carnivores, but also you're going too lean, so you're cutting also the fat, your body is gonna go into survival. It's gonna start shutting down because it's not going to have enough energy to work with. I don't have my list. So try to go for the fat and the fatty cuts of meat. At least 70% of your calories from fat is a good number. People will do like 730 because yes, you can have energy from meat and from protein by glucogenesis, but your body doesn't like to do that. It's like the last resort. It's like very into stress and cortisol and survival. So it's better to give it enough fat and teach your body how to work on fat. And last is that at the beginning, if you're gonna try, just give it 30 days to 45 days of consistency before starting to tweak things, like, and also don't like overthink it too much, like just go and eat intuitively, like as much fat and meat that your body asks, and let it this be a process of reconnecting to your body, of like learning how it works, letting it adapt to the healing, to this new style before like going too deep into like how much I can change or tweak. And the first few weeks, the first few months are the biggest when you gain stuff, like when you start seeing tons and tons of benefits. So staying consistent and not like overthink it or trying to tweak it too much, I think it's really important. Just like give your body time to like ease into this new normal of being nourished and being having nutrition. So yeah, those were my three little tips. And if you would like, you haven't seen the previous video before this Q&A, I'm going to try to leave it somewhere here, and in the descriptions you can also see those too. And like, there's more question, how much you know about all this. Oh, thank you, Jordi. Yeah, probably I know so much because I spent like a lot of time reading and going into this. When I was vegetarian, I just started like on a whim when I was 10 years old, and I just keep doing it just because I didn't really have a reason. And now going into carnivore, I kind of took for the first time ownership of my health and my body and my nutrition, and took the front seat into how my body works and learn how it works and what it needs to thrive. And That is something I never did before. Like I will just go to the doctor and let them tell me what to do and what to take and be okay. And people at school or TV or documentaries tell me what to eat, and I'll be like, okay. So now is this is very passionate for me because it's like me owning this body that was given to me by God. And be like, okay, God, I'm gonna take good care of it. And says, I'll watch this all the way through. I might commit and try it for a month or two to see if my body likes it. Yeah. I mean, people say just give it a try like 1-2 weeks because people start seeing things change like 1-2 weeks. And I did. And now to this day, I still say that if I eat something that doesn't work with me in 3 days, I just go back to strict carnivore. In 3 days, my skin clears up. Whatever was that was not working for me completely goes away. So definitely just even just 1 or 2 weeks. But if you want to give it a whole month, yes, go for it. And if you have any questions, I'm very open and glad to help. I really like this. I've always been afraid too because I don't crave meat the way I crave vegetables. I also can't tolerate chicken. Chicken is not that important, I would say. It's tons of protein, but it's very lean. So it doesn't really give you much energy. So if you don't crave chicken, I wouldn't say like go for chicken. Go for something that your body really enjoys. Like that's the way I started. I didn't know what meats I like because I was vegetarian for so long, so I didn't know. And I also didn't used to like meat, like seeing the blood and the cartilages and the bones and those stuff. Like no, so I just gave myself full permission to give a try, and I start with the most appealing fast food stuff, just getting my toes wet. And then I started learning myself, like, oh, okay, I like ground beef like this way, or I prefer burger patties, or I like fish like tuna like medium rare, and then I started like medium well steak, and then the medium rare, and now I'm getting my steak rare. So it's like you started like in this journey of getting to know what your body wants, and it changes a lot. Thank you so much. Cheers. Oh, you're welcome. I'm so happy. I'm so glad to be here with you guys. Chicken is lean and therefore doesn't give us how much. Yes, makes so much sense. Oh my, yes. Yeah, many carnivores like no chicken, no, because you can buy more nutrition on other kind of meats instead of using that on chicken. That's the way I feel with vegetables too. And like instead of buying vegetables, I can put that money for more nutritious meat and like organ meats like liver. There's like multivitamin. Thank you for sharing. Oh, my pleasure. I love it. I'm enjoying this so much. I'm feeling like I'm gonna do a part two because I feel there's other questions, other stuff I can talk about. So I'm thinking of maybe I'm gonna do another Q&A, part two Q&A in this, and I'll have ideas for other videos I can do. It is nice. Yes, definitely just love part two. Yes, part two. Cheese. Oh, cheese does another whole beast. Dairy is, oh my goodness. So much to say about dairy. It's a rabbit hole on dairy. Yes. Because I always loved cheese. And then I found out doing carnivore that apparently I was lactose intolerant. But then turns out I can eat raw dairy. Since a whole new thing with cheese. Yeah, I love it so much. Like just this week. Okay, and cheese. Um, no, 2-3 weeks ago, I found out that Dierbergs have raw cheese because do you know that many states raw dairy is illegal? So dairy that is not pasteurized is illegal. When I went to Mina's intensive in California apparently you can buy raw dairy. So I start carnivore and I cut dairy, And I noticed that if I had butter, I would have bloating and like weird noises. Like I was not handling dairy good, like normal butter from the store. So I had to cut butter. And I was like, okay, I'm lactose intolerant. I cannot eat this dairy stuff. So then I started watching people in Carnivore saying that it's okay to have raw dairy because when you pasteurize the milk, you kill all the good proteins, enzymes, and bacteria, and that your body used to digest. So I went into the intensive California, the person, and I got raw milk and raw kefir, and I was fine. I was totally fine. And it was so mind blowing to me because I will have like normal dairy and I will have like acne and pimples and stuff coming up. But then I was drinking like a 3 glasses of raw milk and my skin was fine and my digestion was great and I was having no problems. And I was like, how is that possible? How is that? I was mind blown to see that just the process like heating up dairy can make dairy so hard for you to handle. Meanwhile, raw dairy your body can really work with and process. So yeah, cheese is big. Like this last week, so I found that they have raw cheese in Dierbergs, and I bought 3 to try, and I finished them in 4 days because they were so good. They were that good that I had like a ton of cheese, and apparently this cheese had no carbs, so it was like just protein and fat. So that's like a true protein bar, just having like raw cheese pieces. Delicious. For the cheese life. Well, definitely gonna make a big live on just talking about cheese. Kefir, yeah, I started doing my own kefir with raw dairy, so that's great. I um I bought the kefir grains and put them in raw milk, and it was so good. It's so delicious. I don't do it right now just because it's quite a thing to get raw dairy when it's illegal. So you have to like order from the farmer, and then I have to like until Wednesday, and I have to pick it up on Saturday. It's really close from my house, but still I have to go pick it up and Saturday. And if I forget, that's the only reason I'm not having more dairy or raw dairy is because I'm lazy and I like easy. So you can have an idea of how easy this way of eating is because someone being very lazy and likes doesn't like to overthink stuff, sticking to this for like year and a half. Things high levels. Oh yeah. I'm gonna need you sure. When you give a recipe that is high levels, it's yeah. I'm gonna have to get raw there though to do that recipe. I also want to share my coffee, my egg coffee recipe. It's not really coffee because it doesn't have any coffee. Name. Okay, yeah, I can do that. Like what I eat on a day, definitely. I used to take pictures of what I eat. Then the pictures start being the same picture all the time. See how easy it is to do egg coffee. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna try to do it tomorrow. My egg coffee recipe doesn't have coffee, but I call it that because it's like a warm 9 string with a ton of protein and it's delicious. I'm gonna try to have that egg coffee recipe soon. It is very easy, and I think it's super easy for someone that like I feel like I'm a student living alone. I only cook in my air fryer, so I don't use any oils. I use the own fat from the animals. So my all my food are like on the air fryer. It's very easy. Yeah. Yeah, but I've been going on for like an hour and 14. So I think guys I'm gonna let you go. for now, and I'm gonna do a second part and some more videos and recipes. And I'm so glad that this is resonating for some of you guys, and I hope you have learned something today that maybe um, these help in some way for you guys. So thank you so much for being here. Oh, thank you, Yordi. Can't wait for your next live. Congratulations on your first live. Thank you. Yeah, I was. Thank you, Melty Nights, for staying. Even when we lost connection, I don't know what happened there, but thank you so much. I'm so happy. Oh, congrats on your new life. Thanks. Thank you, girls, for being here. I appreciate it. I'll be connecting soon again. Well, have a good one. Have a good weekend. And I send you kisses and blessings. Bye bye.